Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm cooking with Tammy. We are going to be making a delicious one-pot Cajun shrimp and sausage recipe. So with all of that being said, let's introduce these ingredients and get to cooking. First on up is our beautiful jumbo shrimp that's been deshelled, deveined, washed in salt water of course, and pat dried and ready to go. We also have our rice. Now for this particular recipe, I'm going to be using parboiled rice. However, if you want to sub with using jasmine, basmati, quinoa, or even brown rice, you can definitely do that as well. We have our green onions on deck along with our shallots, finely chopped yellow onions. Of course, if you don't have shallots on hand, one or two things. Either exclude it or you can incorporate more onions to this dish. Along with our garlic, butter, and sausages, of course. For this particular recipe, I'm going to be using Jalapeño cheddar sausages. Absolutely delish. However, if you prefer to use andouille or even maybe let's say turkey sausages or even smoked sausages, totally up to you. Along with our chicken broth. If you don't have chicken broth on hand, but you do have bouillon powder, add that bad boy to some water and make your own chicken broth. For our seasonings, we're going to be using Cajun seasoning, garlic powder, onion powder, Italian seasoning, salt, ground black pepper, and smoked paprika. But Tammy, I only have regular paprika. Can I use that as a substitute instead? Unfortunately, the answer is no, not this one time. Now, you know I got your back. If we could use a substitution for any other ingredient, I'd definitely tell you. But with this recipe, because we want all of the flavors to be elevated, to be honest, the smoked paprika definitely heightens the flavor in this dish. With all of that being said, let's get to cooking. We're going to start off with seasoning our shrimp by adding a small drizzle of oil. Use avocado oil, veggie oil, whatever oil you prefer, but definitely an oil with a high smoke point. We're also going to add our Cajun seasoning. If you're using a Cajun seasoning that's really salty, two things. Cut back on the chicken bouillon when making your broth. You're not going to need as much bouillon, and you wouldn't have to add salt to this dish as well. We're going to add our garlic powder. We're also going to hit it off with some onion powder. Sprinkle it on. Sprinkle it on. We're going to add our smoked paprika. We're going to add some salt. But remember what I said. If you're using a lot of salt-based products or ingredients, try to limit the salt. Maybe you might not even have to use the salt, to be honest. We're also going to add some freshly cracked black pepper. How much are you adding? We're adding enough to season our food in order for it to have enough flavor. We're going to get in there and we're going to mix it all up. Make sure everything is well coated. We want seasoning on every piece of shrimp. Because what? I haven't said it in a while, but we want flavor in every single bite. You know what time it is. Now, here's the thing. I left the tails on the shrimp because, of course, it's all about that presentation. However, if you like to get in there and indulge and just go all in, feel free to take the tails off. Once you're done, everything should look just like this. Since our skillet is nice and hot and ready to go, we are going to add a small drizzle of oil. Our pan is nice and smoky. That's our key indicator that it is time to add the shrimp to the skillet. Since our pan is smoking hot, we are going to allow the shrimp to cook for about 1 minute on each side. Once the shrimp is nice and pink, we are going to flip it on over, allow it to cook on the other side as well. We're going to give the shrimp a couple more seconds to do what it do and allow it to sear nicely. Once we're done, we're going to grab our plate. We're going to place the shrimp onto the plate, place it to the side, and reserve it for later. In the meanwhile, using the same pan, we're going to add a small amount of oil once again. We're going to cut our sausages at a slant. Check out those jalapeno bits right up in there along with the cheese. I know you guys can see it. Place the sausages on into the pan. Give it some time, of course. Allow it to brown on up. Once you're done, you're going to flip them on over. Using a slotted spoon or, if you're like me, your spatula. Hold it on the side, of course, and allow all of that excess oil to drain off. Get those sausages into a bowl. And at this time, if you have an excess amount of oil, get in there with a paper towel while being careful, of course. Dab some of that oil out of the pan because we don't need all of it. Using the same pan filled with flavor, we are going to add our butter. Let's lower the flame to medium heat. Allow it to melt on down. We're going to add our diced onions. Give it a good mix. Add those shallots if you have. Mix it on up, incorporate it really well. We're going to add in our garlic. Keep an eye out because we want those onions and shallots to become nice and translucent, our garlic to become fragrant. However, we don't want it to burn. Make sure you keep that flame on low. This part right here should take about 20 seconds because our pan is really hot. It's about that time. We're going to hit it off with our chicken broth. At this time, we're going to add our rice. And of course, as I mentioned before, I'm using parboiled rice. And my rice is not pre-cooked. Stir it on up. Make sure everything is well incorporated. And we're going to hit it off with some Cajun seasoning, followed by our Italian seasoning, a dash of salt, and of course, freshly ground black pepper. We're going to add our sausages back to the pan. We're also going to incorporate our sausages to this mix. Yes, we are. And guess what? Our sausages are not going to be overcooked because unless you're literally frying them, steaming them or boiling them is not going to overcook it. What's going to happen is all of the flavors from the sausages is going to be released into this broth and it's going to bring tons of flavor to this dish. All right. Cover it on down. Allow it to do what it do for about 17 minutes. And I'm not saying the rice is going to be done in 17 minutes. Alrighty, after about 17 minutes, as you can see, most of the rice is dried on out. The rice is looking good, but we're not quite done yet. We do have a little bit of excess water still remaining in the pan, which is perfect. At this point in time, we are going to add some of our shrimp back to the pot. Make sure you get that saucy sauce in there as well, because we need every bit of flavor in this dish, all right? And we want to incorporate some of the shrimp within the rice. Rice is looking perfect, but here's the thing. Off camera, I forgot to add my Old Bay seasoning to the shrimp. So of course, me being who I am, we're going to add that Old Bay seasoning to this rice. Yes, we are. We're going to hit it off with a small amount of Old Bay, and trust me when I tell you, it's going to bring out the flavors in this one pot meal. It is going to be epic. If your shrimp was not cooked all the way through, adding it to the pot at the last couple minutes of the cooking process would definitely get the job done. Because most of the water has already dried on out of the pan and the rice is just about perfectly cooked, we're going to lower our flame to the lowest setting. To bring more personality and even more color to this dish, we're going to add some green onions. Cover it on down and allow it to cook for the remaining 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, this is what we have. Absolute perfection. Add some lemon wedges to this dish, of course, because you can't have seafood without lemon. And trust me, it's going to bring nothing but complimentary flavor to this one pot Cajun shrimp and sausage meal. What? Absolutely delicious. As always, I'm your girl cooking with Tammy, and you better give this one pot meal a try. Not only does it take about 20 to 30 minutes to literally put together, but when I tell you nothing but the best flavors, guys, OMG, this meal right here is absolutely one of the best tasting rice dishes ever. As always, I'm your girl cooking with Tammy, and I will definitely catch you guys in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.